Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. We're just about to watch a video that's been a long time coming. The White House Coronavirus Task Force is going live after a long wait, and they're going to be sharing the latest updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. now has the third highest number of coronavirus cases in the world with 27,700. The U.S. jumped from number 6 to number 3 in just 24 hours, behind Spain and Italy. Several U.S. governors have blasted President Trump today for not using federal powers to accelerate supplies to hospitals facing severe shortages. As a result, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said medical supplies are charging his state $7 per mask that typically costs 85 cents. I mean, that's something that needs to just be addressed anyway. Shouldn't be price gouging right now, especially at this time of need, although people are producing things in places that they normally would not, and but regardless, doesn't need to be price gouging. Here we go. Turn the volume up.
Thank you very much. Just before we begin, I want to mention we're working very hard, long on getting a young group of people out of Peru. We've removed some, and the rest are being removed with the cooperation of the Peruvian government. And we're also dealing with Honduras on getting some people out that got caught up, and we are working on that very well, again with the Honduran government's work, and they're working with us, so I appreciate that. We have a couple of other locations that we'll report to you, and we were able to get a young woman released from a certain area who was being horribly accosted, horribly treated, and
please get to the point.
General Milley. General Milley took care of it. We went in and we got her out.
I've been trying to keep tabs on everything coronavirus and COVID-19. These are things that may have slipped me entirely. This may be my fault, but I believe people are looking for the federal help, not just the aid. And
we continue to marshal every resource at America's disposal in the fight against the Chinese virus. We're profoundly grateful to our nation's state and local leaders, doctors, nurses, law enforcement, and first responders who are
something cut out.
Waging this battle on the ground.
Two things. I don't agree with the terminology of Chinese virus, even though that's maybe where it came from.
Social distancing,
it's not the time. But I do say all these people at these essential jobs are doing their best
unseen
here.
Enemy requires the help and commitment of every single American. I want to just say that Senator Rand Paul, a friend of mine, he's been a great friend of mine. He's been always there when we needed him, when the country needed him. And as you know, he just tested positive. Jose Diaz-Balart, spoke to him yesterday, tested positive. And so people are they're getting quite close to home. And it's a terrible thing that's going on. The hidden enemy, I call it the hidden enemy. And I think they'll all be fine. I hope they're going to be fine. But I just want to send our regards. And I think I can speak on behalf of our country to those two great friends of mine. We're working urgently with Congress on legislation to support the millions of workers, small businesses, and industries who have been hit hard by the virus through no fault of their own. Our goal is to get relief to Americans as quickly as possible so that families can get by and small businesses can keep workers.
Okay, in short words, that means that nothing has been agreed upon, nothing has been passed yet. People really do want to know if and when this relief package for individuals is coming. For the industries, I'm sure they're coming in all senses because the system in general of our economy needs to be protected because it's right now at a very weak point. Without that system, the individuals can't thrive, but the individuals can't be forgotten either. But right now, this seems like an announcement of they're still working on things.
Announcing action to help New York, California, and Washington
New York is us.
ensure that the National Guard can effectively respond to this crisis. The National Guard, these are tremendous people. They're fully on alert. We've signed what we had to sign, and it's been activated. We're dealing also with other states. These states have been hit the hardest. Actually, pretty much by far, you could say the hardest. Everybody can see that. Just look at the numbers. And through FEMA, the federal government will be funding 100% of the cost of deploying National Guard units to carry out approved missions to stop the virus while those governors remain in command. So the governors locally are going to be in command and will be following them, and we hope they can do the job, and I think they will. I spoke with all three of the governors today and just a little while ago, and they're very happy with what we're going to be doing because we'll be announcing some other things for those three states and some other states where it's...
So there's a headline here from the New York Times issued 22 minutes ago from right now it's 6 p.m. Coronavirus Live updates $1 trillion stimulus in doubt as Democrats press for changes.
The federal government has deployed hundreds of tons of supplies from our national stockpile to locations with the greatest need. In order to assist in those areas, I approved the state of New York's request for a major disaster declaration, something which Governor Cuomo has been asking for and which I agree, and we had it done in very rapid fashion. We approved this on Friday evening, and we are working very, very hard to get all of these things not only signed up, but completed and finished and in wind. The request from the state of Washington for a major disaster declaration was approved just a little while ago. Went through the process, and we...
A small thing, Governor Cuomo calls for coronavirus ban on cars from New York City streets. This is always going to be like New Jersey and New York centered because this is where I live. So I just thought that was interesting.
We're working on getting that done very quickly. It'll be done maybe tonight. We have large quantities of medical equipment and supplies on the way based on all of this to those states, including respirators, surgical masks and gowns, face shields, coveralls, and gloves, with large quantities already delivered to Washington and to New York. In addition to large quantities of supplies, I've also directed FEMA to supply the following: 4 large federal medical stations with 1,000 beds for New York, 8 large federal medical stations with 2,000 beds for California, and 3 large federal medical stations and 4 small federal medical stations with 1,000 beds for the state of Washington. The governors know. The supplies en route to California and New York will be delivered within the next 48 hours. In addition, the naval hospital ship, the NYS Mercy. It's incredible ships. These 2 ships are incredible. One on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. Will be deployed to Los Angeles to add emergency surge medical capacity, and they have a tremendous capacity. They are really something. I will say that if you look at some of the things we've been doing, and now those numbers have gone up, and just to be a little bit more exacting, we've done a presidential approval for requests for major disaster declaration for the state of New York. Approval of Title 32 National Guard activation for the state of New York. We're providing all of this at no cost to the governor. I spoke with Governor Cuomo. He's working hard. We're all working hard together. The relationship has really been amazing. But it also enables the governor to provide robust National Guard support to the state. And the 25%, we're going to be waiving that 25% cost. We're picking up, we'll be coordinating, and they'll be doing something with very special people. Mission assignment of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to provide support to build out alternate care sites. They're doing various alternate care sites, which have now been designated by New York. 4 large federal medical stations of 1,000.
So a key thing from the, let's see, Governor Cuomo said he wanted less cars on certain streets, saying in quote, you want to go for a walk, God bless you. You want to go for a run, God bless you. But let's open streets, let's open spaces. That's where people should be. That's a little bit of an odd sentiment considering you're supposed to be staying at home, but I guess if you are at home, it's really hard just to stay inside if you really think about it. You have to be extremely mentally strong. Maybe if you do live with others, that's helpful. In my case, I'm here by myself. My other two roommates have left to go with their families in other states. So for me, being in New Jersey, I don't have any of these New York things going on here for the city streets and the banning of cars on some city streets. But you know what? Honestly, that would be good. So people can go in these streets, but they do not have to get close to one another. But still, that means they're outside, and there's always a possibility of becoming contagious.
Also making equipment for the state of Washington. We've delivered 369,000 N95 respirators, 507,406 surgical masks. And this is as of about 3 days ago. Face shields, 63,788 face shields. Surgical gowns, 107,850. Gloves, 240,376. And we have many, many things pending. It's actually not pending. They're being fabricated. They're being made, and they're moving. Now for Washington, so we have 4 small federal medical stations, 250 beds, and for Washington, state of Washington, we have 3 large federal medical stations, 750 beds, and then you have, as I said, the approval of the Title 32 National Guard. State of California, again, to be very precise, we're going to have the approval of the Title 32 National Guard activation. And we're providing all of this, again, like in New York, at no cost to the governor, meaning Governor Newsom and the state, no cost to the state. It enables the governor to provide robust National Guard support to the state. So they're going to have control of the National Guard. Federal government sending, these are incredible people that are being sent. We have 8 large federal medical stations with over 2,000 beds, and that's going to California. And then strategic national stockpile order, we've ordered likewise.
So this is just an update. I'm going to read off a little bit of news that I'm finding here on the New York Times because I think it may be a little bit more relevant, because with this, it seems like these states, New York State, Washington State, and California, they're getting more help federally, which is great because at least in New York State and New York City, there's a huge amount of cases because people are so close together in the city here, and it just seems like that's enhancing the numbers in the entire state as well as other reasons. But we're going to look at a few things here. The lawmakers' disagreements threaten a sweeping federal economic stabilization package. Last-minute fighting among lawmakers over the details of a more than $1 trillion economic stabilization package to aid families and businesses devastated by the coronavirus pandemic left the sweeping legislation teetering on the brink on Sunday, with the Republican-controlled Senate pushing ahead toward a vote on the package without a formal compromise with Democrats. The top 4 congressional leaders met with Stephen Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, to hash out differences over the package, which remains unfinished after days of rapid closed-door negotiations with administration officials and bipartisan groups of senators. They emerged without news of an agreement, but indicated that the talks would continue even as Senator McConnell of Kentucky, the majority leader, planned to move forward with an initial procedural vote on the package during a rare Sunday session in the Senate. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who returned from San Francisco on Saturday to take part in the final stages of negotiations, went so far to say the House would pursue its own legislation. Quote, it's on the Senate side now because it's on the Senate side now because that's their deadline for a vote, Ms. Pelosi told reporters as she left the meeting. But we'll be introducing our own bill, and hopefully it will be compatible with what they discussed in the Senate. Regardless of who you're here for, this is something that needs to be pressed through. A package has been at least rumored for a week, and I think the day after those rumors began, that's when it should have been pushed through. People need this. People don't know what's going to go on. There may be little mandates here and there, differing by state, and then federal mandates, but people are still confused. Even I'm a little bit confused about what's going on with everything here.
Warranty. This is marketing.
So it seems like the let's see. All right. So we lost the cast of the presidential address here, but we're going to continue on with some other things here. That stimulus package for individuals needs to be passed through. It doesn't matter how, but I'm sure that the individual points, they definitely do matter, because people need money, they need security, and they need to know about how long this may take. That last question is not something that anybody knows. People may be asking that, but we need something like an indefinite plan, or at least the first part of that plan to be solidified and passed. And then maybe you go back to it, because what President Trump said in a previous press conference is that they wanted to do one big package. They didn't have to revisit this every week or every month. That's something that's no longer a possibility. It's taking too long to nail and hammer out everything here that would be for a large package, because there are two differing positions at least by the Democrats and Republicans, and they cannot agree on this. Something needs to be done. Whether it just gets passed, however, whether the majority, whoever has the majority, needs to push it through. It needs to be done, even if it's not favorable for your particular constituents. There needs to be a deadline, and it needs to happen. That's my own personal opinion on this. Now, I say this from myself not desperately needing the assistance of these packages, but knowing people that do. It's very hard to see people not know what's going to happen. Although, if you do have to think about it, everybody's going through this situation. So there are going to be things like mortgage freezes, a possibility, I believe, for the next year. Things like that are going to help people in general, because everyone lives somewhere. Maybe people rent out to different people. There may be tons of reasons why that helps, but it seems like people are fixating on this $1,000 plan and getting that into people's pockets, because that would give people the sense of security, because you may pass these many different mandates and they may get lost. People may not honestly know what it means when something passes. But I think that everybody knows now, hey, if we're getting $500 a month or $1,000 a month, anything with a monetary value, that would do so well to help people that don't know better about what a mandate means, what it means when it passes, what it means for you in your state, in your city, around the entire nation. I believe that it just has to get passed in that form, because I think that would help people and make people feel a lot more secure. Alright guys, since we lost the cast, I'm not going to go over any more news, but if you have any questions for me or want to begin a dialogue with me or anybody who's been watching this, put it in the comments section below. You can also find me on Instagram at m8b9. You can email me at matt8b9@gmail.com, and I'm doing these videos of many different types very often. So I will see you soon. Bye guys.